The Mandalorian and Grogu movie just came out in theaters, and I went in after reading some reviews expecting to hate the movie, but I actually really enjoyed it. Here's my review of why I enjoyed the Mandalorian and Grogu movie that just came out. Star Wars is back.
We've all heard stories of the Mandalorian bounty hunter and a child.
I only hunt Imperial war criminals. I'll take out every bad guy in your deck of cards.
This isn't about revenge. It's about preventing another war.
So, the Mandalorian and Grogu movie picks up where Season 3 of the Mandalorian TV series leaves off with the Mandalorian and Grogu himself hunting down Imperial remnants. Since Dave Filoni is the head of Lucasfilm now, Kathleen Kennedy is gone, so there's been a lot of focus on the New Republic and kind of moving away from the sequel trilogy, which, in my opinion, is a smart move for Disney because the sequel trilogy, there are fans out there, I haven't really met any, but they're kind of moving away from that, which is probably a good thing for Disney's response to Star Wars and to keep it going. So Mandalorian's helping out the New Republic, takes a job, goes a little bit south, and there's some twists and turns throughout the movie. I'm not going to spoil the entire thing. I do think people should go and watch this movie. I had a really fun time watching this movie, and I know there are a lot of critics, especially on YouTube, who are saying that Mandalorian and Grogu is absolutely this overused word called slop. I don't agree with that. I thought it was a fun movie. Me and my girlfriend went and watched it. We were laughing throughout the whole time, especially with the Anzellans. So those little guys are the species for Babu Frick from The Rise of Skywalker, so I think they were a really fun addition. It really stole the screen in every scene that they were in. Also, some of the new characters in addition to the Mandalorian Mandoverse, if you will. So Zeb from Star Wars Rebel makes his live-action debut. In addition, you have Rhoda the Hutt, which is Jabba the Hutt's son. For those who remember, he was in the Clone Wars first ever movie, so if you like the Hutts like I do, you will definitely enjoy this movie because they actually go to Nal Hutta, which is the homeworld for the Hutts. So, and you also see the twins from the Book of Boba Fett series as well, which is great. Now I'm going to move in why I enjoyed the movie. So, a lot of the graphics of this movie are just really great, especially the X-Wing shots in the opening scene of the movie. And you have a lot of different creatures as well that they use CGI. And a lot of these, the tech has just evolved so much, even over the past 5 years, to where these things actually look real. So when you're watching the movie, you'll see a lot of different tech used. And the good thing about Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, they use a lot of practical effects. So there is a lot of puppetry. So if you like the Muppets and some of that Jim Henson 80s movie nostalgia, you will definitely enjoy Mandalorian and Grogu. So I really enjoyed the CGI and the puppetry in the movie. Another aspect of the Mandalorian and Grogu movie that I really enjoyed was the actual story. I thought that the story was self-contained, which a lot of the Star Wars movies now, especially Rise of Skywalker, they had to put out a lot of different comics and books into that movie to help explain some of the story gaps in that film. But the good thing about Mandalorian and Grogu that I really enjoyed is that it is a self-contained story. Even if you haven't watched the Mandalorian TV series, I feel like you could take your mom or grandmother and they could really just understand what was going on because it was a fun film, self-contained, and I thought the stories and the writing was really good, especially with Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau directing the film. I thought that some of the new characters that were written into the movie were great as well. So again, I really enjoyed it because it was a self-contained story. And spoiler, if you're expecting an end-credit scene like Marvel movies, you won't find any there. However, you will probably want to set through, because my next point of why I enjoyed the movie is one of the highlights of this film. And the third reason that I really enjoyed the Mandalorian and Grogu movie was because of the music. So the composer of the Mandalorian TV series came back to score the movie, and there is one track in particular called Shakiri and it is fantastic. So it's kind of set, there's one scene that's set in like space Chicago is what I would say. There's a cameo from a character, a well-known director, so you won't want to miss that part. And this song has been playing nonstop on Apple Music for me, and also some of the other score. You have the Mandalorian theme throughout the movie, so I really enjoyed the music for the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. So in full transparency, and to see if this movie is worth it to go see for you, I'm going to move into some of the things I didn't enjoy about the movie. So one of the big things was the pacing. So towards the end of the movie, there's an extended scene. Again, I'm not going to spoil a whole lot for the movie, but kind of dragged, and I felt like they could have shortened that and edited that scene down. So the pacing was kind of off for the movie, because you'd have some really great action scenes, but then you'd have some long drawn out scenes that probably should have been cut down. One of the other weaker points of the movie, I would say, is also the acting for Sigourney Weaver. Don't get me wrong, Sigourney Weaver is a fantastic actress, and I enjoy everything she's in, from Avatar to the original Alien movies. But I felt like her performance in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie was just not what I expected, and it was kind of hollow when she was talking. It was just always straight to business, no fluff. And I get it, she's in the New Republic and she's higher up there in the New Republic, but I just wanted a little bit more from her character. And also, she didn't have a whole lot of screen time either, the way they built it up in the trailers. So I would also say that's another disappointment of the movie that I had, was Sigourney Weaver's acting. But again, I still enjoyed her character. I just wish there was more of it, and a little bit more like Princess Leia-esque. So those two aspects were really my only negatives about the movie. Again, you'll see a lot of different reviews on YouTube, and I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Negative reviews and negative content gets more views. However, I will try to see things, especially with Star Wars and Disney, because it's easy to be negative about things. Just see it from a different perspective. And I understand a lot of people don't like Dave Filoni's direction for Star Wars. They say that it's more childlike, and Star Wars should be deeper because it should be a lot more like Andor, which, don't get me wrong, I really enjoyed Andor. I think it's probably the best content that Disney has put out since acquiring Lucasfilm, in addition to Star Wars Rogue One. Those two pieces of media are fantastic, but there's also room in the Star Wars universe for the types of content like Mandalorian and Grogu, the movie, the TV series. You also have animated series like Maul, Shadow Lord. So I'm just saying, you'll see a lot of negativity surrounding Mandalorian and Grogu. I would still say go see it. It's a great summer movie. You can kind of just turn your brain off. It's not fully over the top. It's a self-contained story. There's a lot of Grogu in there. So if you do like Grogu, puppetry, and a self-contained story, I would still say go and see Mandalorian and Grogu. So that is my review of the new Star Wars movie, Mandalorian and Grogu. And like I said, I had a fantastic time with it. Me and my girlfriend went and saw it on Saturday, the day after it came out. Got some popcorn. There's a lot of different merchandise if you go to AMC theaters, especially the popcorn buckets are really fantastic. My thing with popcorn buckets, though, I run out of room for popcorn buckets, even though I love them. But that being said, it was a really fun movie. I like the acting in it. The story was self-contained. The music is fantastic. So if you get it on Spotify, Apple Music, or wherever you get your music from, download the Mandalorian and Grogu soundtrack, because it's fantastic, especially if you're going for a walk, going to the gym like I am, and just want a really good soundtrack to go with your Star Wars content. So again, go see Mandalorian and Grogu. Don't listen to all the naysayers and the haters out there, because again, there are some legitimate complaints with the movie, but it's not terrible. It's not slop out there. So I would say go see it if you like Star Wars, especially if you like Grogu, because Grogu's in that movie a lot. Mandalorian, there's a lot of great action and adventure scenes in there, and I just had a really fun time with the movie. So, as always, I hope your money meets the magic, and may the Force be with you. I'll see you in the next video.